I was at the embassy in Moscow, a very junior position at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And with a colleague, we translated one of the more important letters that Khrushchev sent Kennedy. And at the time, we in the embassy it did not have any understanding of how serious the situation was. We would have been very happy to see we would have been very happy to see the military simply bomb the sites in Cuba with them because we felt that the United States had an overwhelming advantage in the area. And of course, in many respects, we did. But we only learned later that people at home thought that we were very close to nuclear war. And in fact, we were closer to it than those of us in Moscow thought at the time. And when Khrushchev agreed to remove what he called those weapons that you consider offensive. And by the way, the Soviet press never reported that they put nuclear weapons on Cuba. That's one of the, in fact, during the whole crisis, there was very little news there. Usually near the back page of Pravda and Izvestia would be a brief article on rising crisis in the Caribbean. So they did not convey to their own people what the true situation was. But I wanted to say was that what Kennedy insisted was that Khrushchev backed down on the missiles in Cuba without referring publicly to his agreement, which he made by a back channel using his brother, the Attorney General, to remove our missiles from Turkey. We had deployed intermediate range nuclear missiles in Turkey and in Italy that could reach the Soviet Union. So, in a certain fact, international law at the time would have permitted the Soviet Union to deploy missiles in Cuba. Of course, they were asked to do so after the Bay of Pigs, when we had tried using emigres to invade Cuba. Now, those of us at the time really did look at it as a great victory. It was only much later, when relations were better with the Soviet Union and we had the veterans of that time meeting together, we found out a number of things. One of them was that if we had attacked those missiles, some colonel in charge of one of them could have launched them. Now, at the time, we knew that our own procedures were so tight that that couldn't be done. We didn't understand that their procedures would. So, if Kennedy had done what the Joint Chiefs wanted and simply bombed them, they could have taken out Miami. Now, and we also learned much later that one of the Soviet submarines came very close to using a nuclear torpedo against a destroyer, which was keeping it under surveillance when it had to surface. And the commander of the destroyer actually ordered that the nuclear weapon be used against the cruiser, but the commander of the flotilla was on there and countermanded that offer. That's how close we found later that this was. But I would say that it was this experience that I think led Kennedy to make his American University speech, and that led to negotiations for the Test Ban Treaty, which was signed shortly after that.
I think we're going to watch the speech now, Ambassador. I think we want to watch the speech and then you can comment further. Okay?
Okay.
That's a good introduction, though, to lead up to this,
Okay.
why speech came about. Thank you.